hope you don't mind me smiling. I always feel a little bit odd talking about my phobias because it tends to excite people in unpredictable ways. It's startling, not just for you, but for me, when I talk about my phobias of, well, I suppose that I have a metaphobia of talking about my phobias, but if I were to eclipse the metaphobia and get down to business and talk about my initial phobia, I could say that I hesitate and I smile, and I'm not exactly assured that I will be successful in my delivery ad extempore regarding my phobia of nanotechnology. What do? You try to explain it to people and they don't do the dirty business of meeting you halfway because it's a nanophobia and they don't know how to meet you halfway because we're talking about infinitesimal distances. How do you infinitely divide an infinitesimal distance? This is called Zeno's paradox. So I get really apprehensive and anxious when it comes to my nanophobia regarding nanotechnology, because you see, I'm very abreast of the facts. I have a scientific mind. It's an apprehensive scientific mind, but I have one. It's not exactly able to track data in real time without the corresponding anxiety regarding the data and how it's streaming in multiple directions simultaneously. I'm afraid of that monolinear enhanced monochromatic obsession with singular paradigms. I have nanophobia. So I really beat around the bush and I smile a lot. And I'm really trying to come to terms with why my phobia is so small, and it is a phobia about this small. I worked for a long time in an inconspicuous position because I was scared of my gifts, scared of my powers and my talents. I was mopping the floors at the Pentagon. Right, it's kind of like Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting, you know the movie. Matt Damon's breakout role with, what's his name? Ben Affleck. Matt Damon is mopping the floors at MIT, and he's really a math genius. He's a general genius. He's in some respects, a savant of the intellect in general, not just mathematics. He's mopping the floor, and he sees an equation on the board, and he solves it, and it's an extremely advanced equation created by a Fields Medal winner, who's the professor at the MIT. So the movie unfolds from there. And this goes a certain distance, a very small, infinitesimal nanosignificant distance toward explaining to you why I have a phobia that is very small of very small things. I was mopping the floor at the Pentagon. I did that because I saw Good Will Hunting. I was so inspired. I was just like, I'm a genius. I don't resonate with anything, much less higher academic institutions, so why don't I just prostitute myself and mop their floors like Matt Damon? I was mopping the floor very carefully because I was very, very aware that I was at MIT. Well, really the Pentagon. I get the things mixed up, but I was at the Pentagon. And I don't know if you've been at the Pentagon, probably not, but you don't take shit for granted at the Pentagon. You do not take shit for granted at the Pentagon. No way. When you are doing anything at the Pentagon, whether you're mopping a floor, giving a presentation, taking a shit in the loo, you don't take anything for granted because you don't know what you don't know. You do not know what you don't know. So I'm here. I'm in the Pentagon. I'm mopping the floors at the Pentagon. I'm proud of myself because I got in under the radar. I'm a Trojan horse because on my resume, I kind of fibbed a little bit and just said I had been a custodian at various public schools throughout Massachusetts, Boston. They didn't know, they didn't see my real resume, and it didn't hack my computer, which could have happened because it's the Pentagon. I got in under the radar in the Trojan horse. I was mopping floors at the Pentagon. And that's when it got a little bit crazy, and that's when I think maybe that's probably when I really started to understand the magnitude of the infinitesimal phobia that got it on me, because I didn't see it initially. Over time it crept up on me, which I think is not an accident. You're mopping the floors, mopping the floors, and it's really dismal. There's this like vomit green paint everywhere, and so much dirt and dust and just abyss. Really, you're just mopping an abyss. That's all there is to it. So I'm there and I'm mopping the abyss, and I start to hear the buzz. I start to hear the buzz. There's a buzzing, but I can't pinpoint it. I can't locate the buzz. But that's shrill and that's loud, comparatively speaking. It was more like... But really it was more... But I can't do it. I can't get it. It was really high-pitched. Ear-shriekingly, shatteringly high-pitched. Like an angel was screeching, but couldn't be too loud because the angel would upset God. And I looked. I couldn't locate it. And I was in the Pentagon, so I knew something was up. That's what you take for granted when you work at the Pentagon and you're mopping floors at the Pentagon. knew something was up. So I put out my arms. Because sometimes you just get the intuition to do something, you don't know why. And the reason is because your organism is a finely tuned antenna. It's picking up information irrespective of your conscious mind. It's like, doesn't matter what you're thinking, your body might still be picking stuff up. I put up my arms because I just instinctively knew that was the right thing to do. And then the hairs on my arms started to go up. They were like antenna, straight up 90-degree angles. And then I felt this tingling, prickly sensation, and they all went down simultaneously. And then I felt it. The penetration. I felt the penetration. And I knew it. I had been inseminated by nanotechnology. I knew it. There's no doubt in my mind. The shrill was the shrill of the nano mosquitoes. And now they were inside me. Now my mind is not my mind. Now my mind is not my own. I think you could probably see that from the beginning of the video, where I can't even hold a singular thought from the beginning of a sentence to the end of this sentence. Sometimes I come back and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that I can finish the sentence. But you know how this stuff works. Once the nanotechnology gets inside you, it starts working. It's working its magic on you. And if you're in the Pentagon, you're like, why is nanotechnology infiltrating me in the Pentagon? And it just so happens that as I was mopping floors that day, I peeked my head through a door. There was a lecture being given. The lecture was about viruses. This gentleman was giving a lecture about how to retrofit a rhinovirus or an acute respiratory virus and tamper with its DNA, engineer it so that it would be disseminated throughout a population. They would come down with the virus and have symptoms that would create the intended effect of the Pentagon. In this case, what I picked up from the lecture is that there was religious fanatics in another part of the world, the Middle East, and this group of fundamentalists was a danger, was a threat. Terrorists. So this presentation was about spreading a virus through that culture, having the virus get into the body, and then go up into the brain and annihilate the God gene. The part of the brain that made them so zealous for God. Zip! Neutralized, gone, not gonna be a threat. And it was just a proposal. I don't know, did they do it or not? It would be an awfully malicious thing to do, but this is what it is like in the world. All's fair in love and war, am I right? So what I want to say is that I kind of had to quit. I kind of had to quit after that because I suspected that I had been infiltrated. Now, you do get a little paranoid when you're continually mopping the floors of the Pentagon for days and weeks and months and years on end. I had been doing it for a very long time. And you make up a lot of stories to pass the time, to accommodate your boredom. But it's kind of like Total Recall. You remember, you just don't know at the end what's real and what's not. Was I really a genius who decided to work at the Pentagon so I could get the inside scoop and all the surreptitious activity in the Defense Department of the United States of America? Or was just like a lowlife, someone who's very, very mediocre and who couldn't get any kind of jobs and who had been somewhat emasculated and disempowered by reality. And the only job I could really get was a job mopping floors in the Pentagon. And my real resume was just a figment of my imagination. That I didn't have this other great CV in my computer that told a prospective employer that I'm actually a genius and a polymath and a savant. That really, I'm just a lowlife. And the highest thing I've ever done with myself is rationalize my laziness. I don't know the answer. Which one I am. Thought I had a clue. But after that day, when the hair on my arm went straight up, and then I felt the descent of this prickly sensation into my skin, I have been terrified of nanotechnology ever since. I have the nanophobia. I do not know whether I am actually a great man or I'm a lazy man of no consequence, whether I'm a mediocre man of no consequence. I could be a phenomenal man. I do not know anymore. I've got some kind of something going on inside me. I can't finish sentences the way I want to finish sentences. They always end up going somewhere else. I don't know who I am. I don't suspect I ever will because I don't know what the problem is and therefore I don't know the solution. What I'm saying to you is, I don't know what happened or if anything happened. I don't even know why I'm mopping floors at the Pentagon. I just know that something changed in me that day when I was unwillingly penetrated. I have not been the same ever since. So if I were you, I would not recommend mopping floors at the Pentagon. Because once you change, and the initial settings are wiped clean, you don't know how to get back to where you were. And you have no idea where you're going because you don't know who you are.